I let my friend propose at my wedding, and my parents turned it into a full-blown family feud. Hi everyone, I, 24F, just got married to my amazing husband, 26M, a few days ago. While we're happy to finally be married, the process of getting here was exhausting, to say the least. I'll give some background before diving into the issue. I'm not a fan of big events. I've always been an introvert and prefer small gatherings with people I'm close to. My husband knew this when he proposed, and we initially planned something small for our wedding. Maybe a cozy ceremony at home with just our families and closest friends. He just wanted me to be happy, and we both agreed that a big wedding wasn't our thing. But my parents? Oh boy, they're the complete opposite. They insisted on a large wedding. Their arguments ranged from, "You only get married once," to, "Think of the memories we'll all have," and "We want to celebrate this with everyone." They guilt-tripped us about how much it would mean to them, how their friends were expecting to attend, and how it would be disrespectful not to have a traditional celebration. After months of back and forth, we finally caved. The wedding ended up being much bigger than we wanted, held at a restaurant with around 150 guests. I was overwhelmed just thinking about it, but I didn't want to deal with the constant arguments anymore. Now here's where it gets complicated. About a month before the wedding, one of our close friends, Jake, 26M, told us he was planning to propose to his girlfriend, Lily, 25F, and asked if he could do it at our wedding. At first, I hesitated. I know a lot of people consider proposals at weddings a huge no-no, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized I didn't mind. I was actually relieved because it meant the spotlight would be on them for a bit, which would give me a break. My husband felt the same way, so we said yes. Fast forward to the wedding day. As expected, I was incredibly overwhelmed. I hate being the center of attention, and being surrounded by so many people was a lot for me. When Jake made his proposal during the reception, right after the dinner speeches, it was honestly a highlight. He gave a heartfelt speech about love and relationships, then got down on one knee. Lily was completely surprised and said yes, and everyone cheered. For a few minutes, all the attention was on them, and I was so grateful for the breather. But here's the issue. My parents were furious. After the proposal, they pulled me aside and said Jake had ruined the wedding. They felt it was disrespectful and said it turned the focus away from me and my husband on our special day. I explained that we had agreed to it beforehand, but they didn't care. They said it was tacky, and that now the main memory of the wedding would be someone else's proposal. Since the wedding, things have been tense. My parents are upset with me for allowing this to happen and say that they'll never forgive Jake for stealing the spotlight. They also told me that their memory of my wedding is tainted because of this. I tried to explain that I don't see it that way and that I was happy for Jake and Lily, but they refused to listen. I feel like I'm stuck in the middle. On one hand, I understand why they're upset. This was a big deal for them, and maybe I should have considered their feelings more. On the other hand, it was my wedding, and I genuinely didn't mind. In fact, Jake's proposal made the day more enjoyable for me. So, Aida for letting Jake propose at my wedding? And how do I navigate this situation with my parents? What do you think? Update. Hi everyone, I didn't expect my original post to blow up the way it did. Thank you to everyone who shared their thoughts. Unfortunately, things have escalated in ways I didn't anticipate, and I wanted to give you an update. After my parents' initial outburst, I tried to smooth things over. I invited them over for dinner to talk it out, but let's just say it didn't go as planned. My dad started the conversation with, "I don't even know who you are anymore," which, to be honest, felt like a bit much. My mom, on the other hand, was crying the entire time and kept saying, "How could you let them steal your day?" I explained again, calmly, that Jake and Lily's proposal didn't bother me or my husband. I reminded them that the wedding wasn't really about the party or the guests, but about us getting married. I even said that if they cared so much about the day, they should focus on the fact that I married someone I love, not on what Jake and Lily did for 10 minutes during the reception. But they weren't having it. My dad accused me of being ungrateful and said, "We spent all this money to make your day special, and this is how you repay us? Letting someone hijack it?" That's when I realized what this was really about. Money. For context, my parents paid for about 70% of the wedding, even though I offered multiple times to scale things down or contribute. They insisted on covering the costs because they wanted the big wedding, not me. But now they're acting like I owe them something in return, namely that the day should have been 100% focused on me. It gets worse. My mom called Jake's proposal classless and said that his actions embarrassed our entire family. Apparently, some of their friends, who I barely even know, commented on how unusual it was to have a proposal during a wedding, and my parents are now mortified. They've even asked me to cut off contact with Jake and Lily because, according to them, they disrespected the family. When I refused, things got really heated. My dad outright said, "If you won't respect the family, maybe we shouldn't have paid for your wedding at all." That comment hit me like a ton of bricks. It felt like they were using the money to manipulate me. And honestly, it hurt more than I can put into words. But here's the kicker. My mom has now taken this feud to Facebook. She posted a long, dramatic status about how some people have no respect for tradition and how the selfish actions of others ruined what was supposed to be the happiest day of her life. The happiest day of her life. Not mine. Hers. And of course, her friends jumped into the comments to agree with her, saying things like, "That's so disrespectful, and I would have been furious too." My mom even responded to one of them with, "We'll never forget how they tarnished this day for us." For us. Jake and Lily found out about the post because, naturally, someone screenshot it and sent it to them. They both feel terrible and have been apologizing nonstop, even though I've repeatedly told them it's not their fault. Jake even offered to help pay for part of the wedding as a way to make amends, which broke my heart because he's one of the kindest people I know. My husband is furious at my parents and thinks we should cut contact for a while, but I'm conflicted. Despite everything, they're still my parents, and I know this big wedding was important to them. But at the same time, their behavior has been so hurtful, and I feel like they're prioritizing their egos over my happiness. To make things even more awkward, my mom has now refused to share any of the wedding photos because she says they're too painful to look at. The only pictures I have are the ones guests took on their phones. So yeah, things are a mess. I'm torn between standing my ground and trying to make peace, but honestly, I don't even know if peace is possible at this point. Thanks for reading, and if you have any advice, I'm all ears. Right now, I'm just trying to focus on my new marriage and move forward, but my parents' reaction is making that really hard. Update 2. Hi again, everyone. I didn't think things could get worse, but apparently, I underestimated just how dramatic my parents can be. Buckle up, because this is a lot. After the first Facebook post my mom made, the one where she claimed Jake and Lily tarnished the wedding, I thought that was the worst of it. I was wrong. A few days ago, one of my cousins texted me a screenshot of another post my mom made, and honestly, I'm still in shock. In this new post, my mom didn't just complain about the wedding, she implied that Jake and Lily had blindsided us with their proposal. She wrote something like, "It's a shame when people you trust use your generosity and kindness to steal the spotlight on what's supposed to be your special day." My daughter and son-in-law were as surprised as we were, and didn't know how to handle the situation in the moment. Truly heartbreaking. Let me repeat that. She told everyone that my husband and I didn't know about the proposal in advance. This is a blatant lie. We were fully aware and had given Jake and Lily our blessing. But now, thanks to her post, several family members and even friends are under the impression that Jake and Lily hijacked the wedding without our consent. Since the post went up, I've been getting messages from relatives asking if we're okay and saying things like, "I can't believe they did that to you." Even my husband's family has started asking questions because my mom's post is spreading like wildfire. I'm mortified. Jake and Lily are devastated. They don't understand why my mom would lie like this. And frankly, neither do I. When I confronted my mom about it, she doubled down. She said she only posted what she felt, and that it's not her fault if people read into it. She then accused me of not caring about how the wedding made her feel, and said, "You're just trying to make me look bad to cover for your friend's bad behavior." I was speechless. And as if that wasn't enough, my dad has now started demanding that we pay them back for the wedding. He hasn't said it outright, but he's been making comments like, "We spent all this money to give you a beautiful day, and this is what we get in return? Disrespect and betrayal." He's even hinted that if we don't make things right, they'll have to reconsider helping us in the future, for things like buying a house, etc. The manipulation is so blatant, it's almost comical, if it weren't so heartbreaking. My husband is absolutely livid. He says they're trying to control us through guilt and money, and I'm starting to think he's right. But the cherry on top? My mom has now started reaching out to our friends to share her side of the story. I found out because one of my bridesmaids called me to say my mom messaged her, asking if she thought Jake's proposal was inappropriate and if it ruined the wedding. My friend politely told her it wasn't a big deal and that she should let it go, but my mom apparently told her, "Well, I guess you don't understand how important a daughter's wedding is to her parents." At this point, I feel like I'm living in a soap opera. My parents have turned something that was supposed to be about love and happiness into a full-blown drama. I don't even know how to move forward with them right now. I tried explaining my feelings and setting boundaries, but they clearly don't respect me or my decisions. For now, my husband and I are focusing on each other and trying to block out the negativity. Jake and Lily have been incredibly supportive, despite being dragged into this mess, and I feel awful for them. I still don't regret letting them propose. It brought a bit of joy to an otherwise overwhelming day. But as for my parents, I honestly don't know if our relationship can recover from this. They've crossed so many lines, and it feels like they're more concerned with their image and their version of the perfect wedding than with my actual happiness. This isn't the final update, but I feel like we're reaching a breaking point. Thanks for sticking with me, and if you have any advice for navigating this mess, I'm all ears. Update 3. Hi again. I honestly can't believe I'm back with another update, but things have escalated even further, and I feel like I'm spiraling. This situation has officially gone from exhausting to downright surreal, and I'm starting to wonder if my parents and I can ever go back to normal after this. First, let me start by saying that my husband and I have been trying to distance ourselves from the drama. We've been spending time together, focusing on settling into married life and just trying to enjoy some peace. But apparently, my parents weren't satisfied with their Facebook antics, because now they've decided to take their campaign to a whole new level. A few days ago, I found out that my parents organized a post-wedding brunch at their house and invited a bunch of our extended family. My husband and I weren't even told about this. We only found out because my cousin, the same one who sent me the Facebook screenshot, texted me saying, "Why weren't you at the brunch? Your parents were talking about how much the wedding stressed them out." Was floored. First of all, why would they host a brunch about our wedding without even inviting us? And second, what exactly were they saying? So I asked my cousin for details, and let me tell you, it's worse than I could have imagined. Apparently, during this brunch, my parents spent most of the time talking about how the wedding was overshadowed by Jake and Lily's proposal. They told everyone that my husband and I were caught off guard and didn't know how to say no when it happened. My mom even said something like, they didn't want to embarrass their friends, but now they're regretting it because it's all anyone remembers. That's not even the worst part. My cousin overheard my mom telling one of her friends that she's thinking of hosting a redo event to reclaim the special day she feels was taken from them. She said she wants to throw a celebration of our daughter's marriage. That's exactly the way it should have been, meaning no proposals, no distractions, and, I assume, no input from me or my husband. When I confronted my mom about this, she actually admitted it. She said she feels like the wedding wasn't a true representation of the family and that she needs to set things right for her own peace of mind. I told her point blank that this isn't about her and that she's making me feel like my wedding day wasn't good enough. Her response? Well, it wasn't. I feel like I'm losing my mind. How can she not see how hurtful this is? My dad is fully on board with the redo idea, by the way. He called me later and said they're willing to cover the costs for the new event, as long as my husband and I agree to participate. When I told him no, he got angry and said, "We've already been humiliated enough. Don't make this harder for us." Meanwhile, Jake and Lily are beside themselves with guilt. They've both apologized 100 times, even though I keep telling them this isn't their fault. Jake tried to reach out to my dad to explain, but my dad apparently told him, "You've done enough damage." My parents have now effectively alienated two of the people who mean the most to me, and it's breaking my heart. My husband, bless him, is trying to keep me grounded, but even he's starting to lose his patience. He suggested we take a break from talking to my parents entirely until they can calm down and stop with the theatrics. I think he might be right, but I also feel so guilty. These are my parents, and part of me feels like I should keep trying to fix this. But at what cost? To top it all off, my mom has now made yet another Facebook post, thanking everyone who came to the brunch and saying, "We're so grateful for everyone who supports us during this difficult time. Family means everything." She didn't tag me, but the message was loud and clear. I'm the one who's not being supportive. At this point, I feel like my parents are rewriting the entire narrative of my wedding to make themselves look like victims, and I don't know how to handle it anymore. Do I cut them off? Do I try to mediate one last time? Do I just let them do their redo wedding and refuse to show up? Never thought getting married would lead to this much drama. If anyone has advice on how to deal with emotionally manipulative parents, please send it my way because I'm at a loss. Thanks for sticking with me, and I'll update again if anything, inevitably, blows up. Final update. Hey everyone, I honestly didn't think I'd be back again, but here we are. Buckle up because this is the final chapter of the wedding drama saga. Spoiler alert, things escalated one last time before my husband and I decided to take back control of our lives for good. A few days after my last update, my parents showed up unannounced at our house. My husband and I were in the middle of a lazy Saturday morning, coffee, pajamas, no stress, when suddenly there was aggressive knocking at the door. We opened it, and there they were. My mom, with tears already streaming down her face, and my dad looking furious. Before we could even invite them in, not that we wanted to, my mom launched into a dramatic monologue about how we were tearing the family apart by not agreeing to their redo wedding idea. She claimed they were just trying to fix things and make sure everyone could have happy memories of our marriage. My dad jumped in, saying we were being selfish and disrespectful by ignoring their feelings. At this point, I couldn't take it anymore. I told them they were the ones who were ruining everything, by lying on Facebook, by hosting a brunch without us, and by putting their own egos ahead of my happiness. My mom sobbed louder, saying, "We just want what's best for you." My dad, on the other hand, doubled down and said, "We regret paying for that wedding if this is how you're going to treat us." Then, my mom said something that broke me completely. "We don't even recognize the daughter we raised anymore." That was it. I told them firmly but calmly that they needed to leave. My husband backed me up, saying we weren't going to entertain any more guilt trips or manipulation. My mom begged me to reconsider, saying, "Family is forever." But my dad just stormed off, dragging her behind him. After they left, I completely broke down. My husband held me while I cried, and when I finally calmed down, we had a long, serious conversation. He pointed out that my parents had shown time and time again that they cared more about controlling the narrative than about my happiness. They weren't respecting me, my husband, or our marriage, and it was starting to take a real toll on us. That's when we made the decision. We were going to go no contact with my parents, at least for the foreseeable future. I realized that trying to maintain a relationship with them wasn't just draining, it was toxic. Before officially cutting ties, I wanted to set the record straight. My parents had already twisted the story so much that people in our lives were starting to believe their version of events. So, with my husband's help, I wrote a public Facebook post. To our friends and family, we want to clear up some misconceptions about our wedding day. Jake and Lily's proposal was something my husband and I fully supported and approved of. It was a beautiful moment that added joy to our day, and we do not regret it for a second. Unfortunately, my parents have chosen to spread misinformation and involve others in a situation that should have stayed between us. Their actions, including hosting events without our knowledge and lying about what happened, have caused significant harm to our relationship. For now, we've decided to take a step back from that relationship to focus on our marriage and the people who truly support us. We are grateful to everyone who has stood by us, including Jake and Lily, who have been unfairly vilified in this situation. Thank you for understanding, and we look forward to moving forward with love and positivity. The response was overwhelmingly supportive. Several family members reached out to apologize for believing my parents' version of events, and Jake and Lily were so touched that they cried when they read it. As for my parents, my mom posted a vague, passive-aggressive status about losing her daughter to lies, but I didn't engage. I've officially blocked both of them on all platforms. My husband and I decided it was time to truly focus on ourselves and leave all this drama behind. We'd been putting off our honeymoon because of the chaos, but now we wanted to do something special. Then my husband had the best idea. Why not invite Jake and Lily to come with us? It made perfect sense. We could finally celebrate our marriage without any negativity, and Jake and Lily could celebrate their engagement in a happy, supportive environment. When we asked them, they were shocked but thrilled, and they immediately said yes. We've booked a trip to a beautiful resort in Hawaii, where we plan to relax, enjoy some much-needed peace, and make memories with two of our closest friends. Jake and Lily insisted on paying their own way, but we're planning to surprise them by covering a special dinner or excursion as a thank you for everything they've endured because of my parents. This has been one of the most emotionally draining experiences of my life, but I feel like I can finally breathe again. Cutting ties with my parents was hard, but it was also necessary. For the first time in months, I feel free. Free to focus on my marriage, my friends, and the life we're building together. Jake and Lily are more than just friends at this point. They're family. And my husband? He's been my rock through all of this. I don't know what I did to deserve him, but I'm so grateful he's by my side. Thank you to everyone who followed this journey and offered advice and support. It's been a wild ride, but I'm finally at peace. Here's to new beginnings and leaving the drama behind.